What if I told you that the reason you don't have the money you want is because of what you assume to be true every day, and that changing that could put thousands of dollars in your account? Would you listen to me until the end? I'm not talking about a lottery, a stroke of luck, or a magic formula. I'm talking about an internal adjustment that, when made, completely changes the game of your financial life. Your mind is a financial magnet. It's already working right now, at this very moment, to attract or repel money from you. Every thought you repeat, every story you tell yourself about what's possible or impossible, is shaping the opportunities you see, and even the ones you let pass you by. The truth is, you can't turn off this magnet. Your only choice is to tune it to attract abundance or leave it stuck in scarcity mode. And that's exactly what we're going to do together here. Before we begin, I want us to make a pact. Only people with an abundance mindset subscribe to this channel. Why? Because they know that knowledge is the greatest asset there is. If you feel ready to grow, willing to learn and take action to change your financial life, subscribe now. This is the place for those who don't settle for less and are ready to take control of their own prosperity. Chapter 1: The Power of Inner Alignment. What you believe about money, deep down in your heart, is driving your financial life right now. It's not just about working hard, putting in extra hours, or saving every penny. It's about what you assume to be true every day, because your mind doesn't negotiate with reality, it creates reality. If, deep down, you think that earning a lot is only for other people, guess what? You'll live to confirm it, year after year. Consider the story of Jason, a guy from Austin, Texas. He grew up hearing that money doesn't grow on trees and that to make a good living, you had to work yourself to death. At 32, he was exhausted, working 2 jobs, and still drowning in debt. The turning point? Jason started affirming every morning that he deserved to earn more and that opportunities were coming his way. At first, it seemed silly, even forced. But within a few weeks, he realized he was applying for better jobs, speaking more confidently in interviews, and landing freelance gigs he hadn't even considered before. Within 18 months, his annual income doubled, and it wasn't magic, it was a shift in his internal assumptions. Now, let's move to Los Angeles. Sarah, an interior designer, always assumed that wealthy clients only hired high-level professionals with decades of experience. This led her to accept small jobs with tight margins. One day, tired of feeling stagnant, she decided to create a new mental story: I'm the obvious choice for high-end projects. She envisioned meetings with clients in mansions, hefty contracts, and even saw herself toasting with champagne after a major signing. 3 months later, a wealthy couple found her portfolio online. They closed a project that earned twice as much as any previous contract, and guess what? She was ready to cash in. And then there's Mike, from Chicago. He was a sales manager at an auto dealership, but he always assumed that moving up to director was out of his league. Once he understood the law of assumption, he started acting as if he were already the director. He dressed better, made decisions more decisively, and attended strategic meetings even without an invitation. Within less than a year, a position opened up, and he was the natural choice. A tripled salary, generous bonuses, and, most importantly, proof that the change began in his mind long before it appeared on his paycheck. The point is clear: your bank balance is reacting to what you believe is normal for you. If normal means earning little, spending everything, and never investing, that's what will continue to appear. But if you redefine what normal is and start acting, feeling, and making decisions like someone financially successful, reality will inevitably align. In the next chapter, we'll explore the cycle of scarcity and how it creeps almost invisibly into your life, and more importantly, how to break this pattern before it defines your future. Because, as you'll see, the problem isn't what's missing in your account, but what's left over in your mind. Chapter 2: The Cycle of Scarcity and How to Break It. Scarcity doesn't start with your bank statement, it starts with what you think and repeat every day, almost automatically. It's that inner voice that whispers that money is never enough, that you have to hold on because it might run out, or that too much of a good thing doesn't last long. It seems harmless, but these little phrases are like seeds, and, guess what, they germinate. They grow silently and shape your choices, your reactions, and even what you see as opportunities. If your mind is constantly focused on the fear of losing, what happens? You hesitate to invest in something that could increase your income. You back away when an opportunity arises that requires courage. You let contacts, deals, and ideas slip away because your subconscious is stuck in the "what if it doesn't work out" programming. And so, without realizing it, you operate in survival mode. And living in survival mode is like driving with the handbrake on. You move forward, but you never reach any real speed. Consider Kelly from Denver. She grew up in a home where her parents constantly told her, "We can't afford this and life is hard for those who aren't born rich." These phrases weren't just opinions, they were certainties for her. As an adult, even with a comfortable salary as a marketing manager, Kelly lived as if she were on the verge of bankruptcy. She saved every penny, but didn't invest. She saved out of fear. She was terrified of spending on courses, mentors, or anything that wasn't absolutely essential. The result? She was secure, but stagnant. One day, out of pure curiosity, she attended an event on financial mindset. And it was there that she realized the trap. She was stuck in a pattern of fear and scarcity. She decided to change her internal narrative. She began affirming every day, "Money flows easily and returns multiplied." But she didn't just say it, she acted as if she believed it. She invested in a specialization course in branding, something she'd always wanted but thought was too expensive. Within 6 months, this course led her to create an award-winning campaign. In less than a year, she received a promotion and a 40% raise. This is the power of breaking the cycle. Scarcity fuels scarcity itself. When you avoid spending on things that could generate more income, you keep your life at exactly the same level. It's like trying to fill a bucket with a hole in the bottom. No matter how much you put in, it will always come out. And here's the key: changing what you assume is possible. It doesn't mean spending irresponsibly, trying to prove that you believe in abundance. It means understanding that investing in yourself, your business, your education, and the right opportunities is opening the floodgates for money to flow. Money needs to circulate. And when you hold it back out of fear, you're sending a clear message: I believe there will be a shortage. The universe doesn't question it, it simply delivers more of the same. The moment you change this belief, something changes in your mental filter. You begin to notice opportunities that previously went unnoticed. You begin to meet people who can open doors. You begin to realize that strategic spending isn't a waste, it's a seed. And, like any seed, it requires faith, patience, and consistent action. In the next chapter, we'll delve into a true story of someone who went from earning a minimum wage to earning 6 figures a year. You'll see that the turning point began long before the first extra dollar hit the account, and you'll understand how this same turning point can happen to you, naturally and inevitably, when your mindset is aligned with your true life goal. Chapter 3, From Stagnation to 6 Figures. Many people think that a financial leap only happens when the big opportunity presents itself. But what few realize is that, in most cases, the opportunity only presents itself because the person has already started acting as if they were ready for it. And that's exactly the case for Ryan, from Seattle. Ryan worked as an IT analyst for a mid-sized company. His salary was okay, it paid the bills, but there wasn't much left for investments or leisure. He had an invisible ceiling, a constant feeling that this was the maximum he could earn because no one would pay someone like him that much. This belief led him to accept any extra task without asking for a raise and turn down freelance jobs that seemed too big for his level. One day, after listening to a podcast about the millionaire mindset, Ryan decided he needed to break through that mental ceiling. He began applying the law of assumption in a practical way. Every day, before opening his computer, he would close his eyes for 2 minutes and visualize a welcome email from a new company offering a 6-figure annual salary. He felt the excitement, imagined telling his family, and even visualized the celebratory dinner. More importantly, he began to act like someone who already had that level of income, better posture in meetings, more proactive, more confident when presenting ideas. 3 months later, a former colleague recommended him for a position at a growing startup. He wouldn't have applied before, but now things were different. He was hired with a salary 65% higher than his previous one, performance bonuses, and profit sharing. What happened there wasn't luck, it was internal alignment. When Ryan changed how he saw himself and what he assumed was possible, he began to attract situations compatible with this new version of himself. It's like changing the radio station. The opportunities were always there, but he only managed to hear them when he adjusted his tuning. And this repeats itself across different fields. When you recognize that you're a sought-after professional, you start acting like one. When you believe you deserve to charge more for your work, you start offering more value and communicating it with confidence. When you realize you're capable of investing and multiplying your money, you start studying and acting accordingly. External change is a reflection of internal change, always. In the next chapter, we'll discuss the silent danger of assuming that money is hard. This belief is responsible for blocking more opportunities than any economic crisis, and you'll discover how to neutralize it before it continues to shape your financial reality. Chapter 4: The Danger of Assuming Money is Hard. This is one of the most insidious and destructive beliefs you can harbor. When you assume money is hard to come by, everything in your life begins to confirm this. Opportunities seem scarce, every achievement seems to cost an absurd amount of effort, and even when you earn more, some unexpected expense appears to take away the surplus. It's as if the universe is saying, "You believe it's hard? Then I'll show you how it can be even harder." This mindset isn't innate, it's learned. And usually learned early. Maybe you grew up hearing your parents say that life is hard, that money doesn't fall from the sky, or that to earn a good living, you have to suffer a lot. The problem is that when these phrases are repeated in childhood, they stop being just opinions and become absolute truths in your subconscious. Consider Amanda, from Boston. The daughter of an electrician and a teacher, she always saw her parents working hard and earning little. Even after graduating and entering the financial market, Amanda harbored the belief that to advance, she would have to give up everything: free time, health, personal life. For years, she accepted 70-hour workweeks, believing that that's the price of success. But success never came. What did come was chronic fatigue, anxiety, and a financial limit she never broke. The turning point came when Amanda, almost by accident, began studying the relationship between beliefs and performance. She realized that her body and mind were programmed to operate in scarcity, not abundance. She began a simple exercise. Every day, she dedicated 5 minutes to writing sentences that represented a new reality. Money comes to me easily. The right opportunities find me at the perfect time. I can earn a lot doing something I love, and that gives me free time. At first, she didn't believe these phrases. But she persisted, not like someone forcing positive thinking, but rather like someone planting a new seed. Little by little, she began to notice opportunities she'd previously overlooked. An invitation to speak at a paid event. A client who referred another client. A side project that generated more income in 3 months than her annual bonus at her full-time job. Within 2 years, Amanda left her corporate job and began working as a consultant, earning more and working fewer hours per week. The lesson is clear: when you assume money is hard, your brain filters and interprets the world to confirm this. But when you change that assumption, your entire system starts searching for evidence to the contrary. This doesn't mean there's no effort, it means that the right effort, in the right direction, yields much faster and more consistent results. In the next chapter, we'll explore a principle that seems counterintuitive but is a game changer: how to create the identity of a millionaire before you even have a bank balance. You'll understand why this is the step that separates those who just dream from those who truly achieve financial freedom. Chapter 5: Creating the Millionaire Identity Before the Bank Balance. This is the part many people overlook, and that's precisely why they don't see lasting results. You don't become a millionaire only when your bank account hits 7 figures. You become a millionaire the moment you start thinking, acting, and making decisions like someone who already is. The balance comes later, as an inevitable consequence of this identity shift. Think of it this way: if you won a huge sum today but continued with the same mindset, habits, and limiting beliefs, you'd probably lose it all within a few years. It's no coincidence that many lottery winners go bankrupt within 5 years. They receive millionaire money, but continue to think and act like people with scarcity. Consider Chris from Miami. He worked as a mid-range real estate salesperson. He earned a good living, but he didn't see any chance of reaching the city's big deals, the ones that closed million-dollar deals. For him, this was the exclusive territory of a select group of brokers with decades of experience and powerful connections. One day, after reading about the importance of creating an identity that matched the desired outcome, Chris decided to change his approach. He began dressing more in line with the target audience. He began attending events and clubs where these clients frequented. He invested in high-value negotiation courses. And, most importantly, he began presenting himself as someone who already dealt with luxury real estate, even though, at that point, he hadn't closed any yet. 3 months later, a connection made at an event resulted in a $1 million sale. This transaction wasn't a fluke. It was a direct result of the stance Chris took before he even had the proof in the statement. Creating a millionaire identity isn't about pretending to be something you're not, it's about adapting your behavior and mindset to the level you want to reach. This includes: make decisions thinking about the long term, not just immediate gain. Invest in yourself and your business, instead of looking for cheap shortcuts. Hang out with people who already think and act according to the standard you want to achieve. Communicate confidence in your value, without having to justify yourself all the time. When you begin to embody these characteristics now, your brain and your environment begin to work to confirm this new version of you. Opportunities that previously seemed distant begin to arise more frequently because you're now vibrating at a frequency compatible with them. In the next chapter, we'll discuss a simple and extremely effective method for anchoring this new identity and accelerating the process, the short scene technique applied to finance. You'll discover how to strategically use your imagination to create experiences so real that your subconscious will have no choice but to manifest them. Chapter 6: The Short Scene Method for Manifesting Wealth. The human mind doesn't differentiate between a lived experience and a vividly imagined one. That's why you can feel fear just thinking about something bad, or smile remembering a happy moment. This is the same principle that makes the short scene technique so powerful for manifesting money and opportunities. The idea is simple: create a short, specific, and emotionally charged mental image that represents the financial outcome you want to experience. No need to imagine it for hours or create complex stories. We're talking about a 10 to 20 second clip so vivid that your subconscious begins to accept it as part of your reality. Take Lauren from San Diego. She wanted to leave her corporate job and make a living from her own consulting business. Instead of thinking about the how or the hundreds of steps required, she created a short scene. She was sitting in a beachfront cafe, sipping her favorite latte, looking at her phone and seeing a $25,000 payment notification for a consulting contract. She smelled the coffee, heard the sound of the waves, felt the texture of the cup in her hands. Every night before bed, she replayed this scene until it became second nature, as if it were a real memory. 3 months later, a high-value client came through a referral. The deal? $25,000. Lauren knew it wasn't a coincidence. She'd relived the experience so many times in her mind that when it happened, it seemed like a natural continuation of her life. This method works because the subconscious doesn't distinguish between imagination and reality. It reacts to the emotions and images you repeatedly present. And when you consistently create these images, you begin to filter the world for opportunities that confirm the story that's running inside. To apply, follow 3 steps. 1. Define a clear financial outcome. This could be a specific amount, a specific contract, or a situation that represents abundance for you. 2. Create a short, intense mental clip, always in first person, feeling as if it were now. 3. Recreate this scene every day, preferably before bed or upon waking, when your mind is most receptive. It's not about forcing belief, it's about training your brain to accept this reality as normal. And once it becomes normal to you internally, the actions and decisions that support it begin to happen almost automatically. In the next chapter, we'll explore a powerful complement to this technique: financial affirmations that actually work. You'll understand how the right words, spoken in the right way, can accelerate the manifestation of what you desire and solidify this new financial identity. Chapter 7: Financial Affirmations That Really Work. Affirmations aren't magic phrases that, on their own, change your life. They're tools to reprogram how you think and feel about money. The mistake many people make is reciting empty, emotionless affirmations, like someone reading a grocery list. The subconscious doesn't just respond to words, it responds to the meaning you put into them and how often you repeat them with intention. When you say something like "I'm rich but," inside, you're thinking about overdue bills, you create an internal conflict. That's why your affirmations need to be at a level you can believe now and, at the same time, expand your sense of possibility. Think of them as bridges between where you live today and where you want to live. Consider David from Atlanta. He always wanted to earn multiple 6 figures with his marketing agency, but whenever he told himself "I'm a millionaire," he felt like he was lying. So he adjusted his affirmations to something that sounded achievable and inspiring. "I'm attracting high-value clients every day, and my work is increasingly valued and well-paid." These statements didn't conflict with his reality, but they pointed to where he wanted to go. By repeating them daily, David began to notice subtle changes: bolder proposals, clients willing to pay more, opportunities that hadn't previously appeared. 2 years later, he closed his first annual contract worth over $200,000. The key is to create specific, positive, and present-tense affirmations. Avoid generic phrases like "I want more money," your brain doesn't know what to do with that. Instead, use statements like, "I receive a steady stream of income doing what I love. I am paid generously for the value I deliver. Money comes to me from multiple sources on a constant basis." Repeat your affirmations at strategic times throughout the day. Upon waking, to set the tone for your actions. Before bed, so your subconscious can work on them while you sleep. And whenever you notice thoughts of scarcity, immediately replace them with an affirmation aligned with abundance. Over time, these phrases begin to become part of your internal dialogue. And that's when the magic happens: your decisions, behaviors, and opportunities begin to align with the new narrative. You stop seeking to simply survive and start deliberately creating the financial reality you desire. In the next chapter, we'll discuss the domino effect of small victories. You'll understand how celebrating modest gains can pave the way for much larger achievements and accelerate your progress toward financial freedom. Chapter 8: The Domino Effect of Small Victories. Many people wait for the big moment to start feeling good about their finances. The raise, the million-dollar contract, the unexpected inheritance. But in practice, what builds solid wealth is the sum of small victories along the way. Each achievement, no matter how small, is like a domino that knocks over the next, creating a cumulative effect that completely transforms your financial life. This effect isn't just psychological, it's strategic. When you recognize and celebrate each step forward, no matter how small, you send your subconscious the message that you're on the right path and worth continuing. This increases motivation, improves confidence, and creates a positive cycle that fuels further action. Consider the story of Olivia from Phoenix. She was determined to get out of debt and build an investment fund. Instead of waiting until she paid it all off to celebrate, she set short-term goals. When she paid off her first credit card, she cooked a special dinner at home. When she saved $1,000, she bought something she'd wanted for months, guilt-free. Each victory reinforced the idea that she was capable of managing money wisely, which motivated her to pursue the next goal. 3 years later, Olivia was not only debt-free but also had an investment portfolio generating monthly passive income. Small victories also have a practical impact. They build habits. By increasing your income by $200 per month with a side project, you learn to manage more income. By saving a specific amount each month, you build financial discipline. These seemingly simple habits compound and create the foundation for bigger financial leaps. The key is not to underestimate these advances. Each step is a sign that your financial identity is changing. You're no longer the person who tries to improve and becoming the person who constantly improves. So, celebrate. Whether it's an extra client, an investment that yielded slightly above average, or a savings goal reached ahead of schedule, recognize and feel gratitude for each achievement. Because it's precisely this energy that paves the way for even greater results. In the next chapter, we'll discuss the mistakes that sabotage your financial manifestation. Many of these are habits so common they go unnoticed, but they can be blocking the flow of opportunities and keeping you stuck in the same old reality. Chapter 9: Mistakes that sabotage your financial manifestation. Often, it's not what you're doing that's hindering your prosperity, but what you keep doing without realizing it. Small, seemingly harmless habits and attitudes can be draining your opportunities and blocking the flow of money. The worst part is that most of them are so common that you may be repeating them right now. The first is constant talk of the crisis. When you entertain conversations about how the economy is bad or nobody is spending, you're subconsciously reinforcing the idea that there's no money circulating. This creates a mental filter that makes you see only scarcity. Even if opportunities arise, you tend to ignore or dismiss them out of fear. Another mistake is consuming news and content that reinforces negativity. Yes, it's important to be informed, but if most of what you see, hear, and read is about economic problems, bankruptcies, and hardships, your mind begins to assume this as the default scenario. You prepare to survive, not thrive. There's also the habit of complaining about what you have. It could be your salary, your job, your clients, or even small everyday situations. Complaining creates a mindset that focuses on what's missing, rather than what's working. It's the opposite of an abundance mindset, which recognizes and values what's already present. And we can't forget the mistake of maintaining relationships that reinforce limiting beliefs. People who constantly tell you that money is dirty, only dishonest people get rich, or it's better to have less and live in peace, may be holding you back, even unintentionally. Spending too much time with this kind of mindset will inevitably influence yours. Consider Nathan from Dallas. He wanted to expand his photography business, but he was surrounded by colleagues who complained about the lack of clients and blamed the saturated market. Nathan realized that every time he participated in these conversations, he left feeling demotivated. He decided to limit his contact and began attending groups of entrepreneurs who shared solutions, strategies, and successes. In less than 6 months, his revenue doubled. The solution to avoid these mistakes is simple, but it requires awareness. Carefully choose the conversations you have, the content you consume, and the people you spend time with. Replace scarcity statements with abundance statements. Swap complaints for gratitude and a focus on solutions. In the next chapter, we'll talk about persistence. You'll understand why sticking with your new beliefs until they become second nature is the final step to completely transforming your financial reality, and why most people give up right before the turning point. Chapter 10: Persistence until it becomes natural. Most people give up before seeing results. Not because the technique doesn't work, but because they expect instant changes and, faced with the first obstacle, revert to their old habits. The truth is, manifesting a new financial reality requires consistency. It's like changing a ship's course. It takes time to start heading in the new direction, but once adjusted, the course changes completely. Persistence doesn't mean repeating something mechanically. It means keeping the internal state aligned with what you desire alive until it becomes part of who you are. At first, it may feel forced. Claiming success while the bills keep coming in can be uncomfortable. But this is precisely where most people fail. They confuse discomfort with lack of progress. Consider the story of Michelle from Portland. She decided she wanted to earn at least $10,000 a month from her coaching business. She created a short scene, made specific affirmations, and adjusted her identity to act like someone who already earned that amount. In the first 2 months, almost nothing changed. She had clients, but far from her goal. The difference? She didn't give up. She kept taking action, investing in herself, and cultivating the right mindset. In the 4th month, she signed 2 premium packages in 1 week. From that moment on, $10,000 a month stopped being a goal and became her standard. Persistence also means shielding yourself from distractions. It's refusing to revert to the old narrative when something doesn't go as expected. It's remembering that external results always come after internal change. The subconscious needs time to accept the new as normal, and until then, it will test your resolve. A good practice is to create a reinforcing environment. This could be a group of people with a growth mindset, daily content that supports your beliefs, or morning rituals that keep you focused. The more you surround yourself with signals of the reality you want to create, the easier it will be to maintain persistence. When the new mindset becomes natural, the effort disappears. You don't need to remind yourself to act like someone prosperous, you simply are that person. Your decisions, habits, and results flow coherently with this identity. And it's at this point that the law of assumption works most powerfully, bringing opportunities and results that seem like coincidence, but that you built from the first day you decided to change. Chapter 11: Protecting your mindset from relapse. Changing your financial mindset is like building a new foundation for a house. Initially, it requires conscious effort, discipline, and attention to detail. But if you don't maintain this foundation, the structures begin to crack, and little by little, the old pattern takes over. This is what happens when you don't protect the mindset you've worked so hard to create. Relapse is rarely dramatic, it's subtle. It begins with small concessions, a negative comment you overlook, a conversation about how hard things are you're caught up in without realizing it, a pessimistic news story you consume repeatedly. Gradually, these elements creep in, reactivating old fears and sabotaging your new mindset. Consider the case of Ethan from Houston. After 2 years of applying the law of assumption, he had doubled his income and was living financially secure. But a weak quarter in business was enough to make him start doubting again. Colleagues complained, forecasts of a downturn, and soon he was taking on jobs he didn't want, just to guarantee some income. The result? He lost energy and focus, and nearly compromised the progress he had made. Fortunately, Ethan realized what was happening. He resumed reinforcing his affirmations every morning, reinstated the habit of visualizing his goals, and drastically cut back on negative self-talk. Most importantly, he reconnected with people who were growing and thriving, which rekindled his confidence. Soon after, a high-value contract came his way, making up for the previous months and putting him back on the growth path. Protecting your mindset means treating it as your most valuable asset. This involves: review your goals daily and what you want to manifest. Intentionally choose what information, content, and conversations you consume. Create a physical and social environment that supports their growth. Constantly monitor your thoughts to identify and replace old patterns. A prosperity mindset isn't something you get and forget. It's built and reinforced continually. When you understand this, setbacks stop being a threat and become mere reminders to further strengthen your foundation. In the next chapter, we'll discuss how to make this practice permanent. Because true prosperity isn't a temporary event, it's a lifestyle that sustains and grows over time. Chapter 12, Prosperity as a Lifestyle. True prosperity isn't an isolated peak on the graph of your life. It's a consistent pattern, sustained by habits, choices, and a mindset that doesn't waver in the face of external circumstances. When abundance becomes part of your identity, it stops being something you seek and becomes something you are. Living in prosperity as a lifestyle means that every decision, whether about spending, investing, taking on a project, or even who to spend time with, is made based on a long-term vision and alignment with the life you want to maintain. It's not about showing off or spending without thought, it's about being strategic, balanced, and conscious. Sophia, from New York, is a clear example. After years of applying the principles you learned here, she built a 7-figure net worth. But what maintained and expanded this wealth was the fact that she incorporated prosperity habits into her daily life. Sophia remained committed to financial education, diversified investments, cultivated a solid network of contacts, and, above all, continued to reinforce the mindset that got her there. Another essential aspect of this lifestyle is strategic generosity. Truly prosperous people understand that contributing knowledge, time, or resources keeps the flow going. It's no coincidence that many millionaires dedicate part of their earnings to important causes, strengthening not only their impact on the world but also their connection to their own abundance. Prosperity as a lifestyle also means resilience. It's knowing that periods of fluctuation are part of the game, but that they don't change who you are. Confidence isn't just about your bank balance, but about the certainty that you can always create more value and more opportunities. When abundance is integrated into your identity, it manifests naturally. Your actions, conversations, relationships, and financial decisions reflect this attitude. You stop chasing and start walking side by side with money, consistently and in balance. Now that we've reached the end of this chapter-by-chapter journey, in the next step we'll tie all these concepts together in a final conclusion. It's time to consolidate what we've learned and show you exactly how you can apply each principle starting today to definitively transform your relationship with money. Conclusion: the closing of the cycle and the beginning of your new journey. If you followed each chapter thus far, you've already realized that the law of assumption applied to finances isn't just a fancy theory from a self-help book, it's a daily practice that transforms the way you think, feel, and act around money. It's not about waiting for a stroke of luck to change your life, but about accepting that the life you want is already yours, and then aligning every decision, every action, and every thought with that reality. We've walked the entire journey together. We started by understanding the power of inner alignment, identified the cycle of scarcity and learned how to break it, saw how to create the millionaire identity before your balance sheet even reflects it, applied the short scene technique, and strengthened the process with powerful financial affirmations. We talked about celebrating small victories, avoiding common mistakes, maintaining persistence, and protecting your mindset from relapses. Finally, we integrated all of this into a prosperous lifestyle, where abundance and growth are the norm. But now comes the most important part: action. Nothing we've discussed here will have any real impact if it remains just inspiration. Choose one technique to start today, whether it's creating your short scene, repeating your affirmations in the morning, reviewing your goals, or eliminating negative self-talk, and make it a non-negotiable commitment. And if you made it to the end of this video, that already says a lot about you. It shows that you're not an ordinary person who consumes content and forgets the next day. You're someone willing to learn, apply, and transform. And I want the world to know that too. So, here's our deal: subscribe to the channel right now to continue receiving content that will strengthen your mindset and your finances. Only people with a growth mindset do this, because they understand that knowledge is the greatest investment there is. And to prove that you are part of this special group, write the word in the comments: non-negotiable. This word will be our secret code to identify those who are truly committed to their own prosperity. So, when I see your comment, I'll know you not only listened, but decided to act. Your financial future begins the moment you accept it. So, accept it. And remember, everything you want is already on its way, the moment you become capable of receiving it.